This is for Curious in GIMP user group who's new to GIMP and's got some really basic questions. One is opening a file, so you can open, or you can open as a layer. So we'll look at just open here. And you can open one file or you can open several files. Just select several files and they'll open. We'll just do one now, that one. They're both the same size, these. And it opens, it's quite large in this little screen capture I've got here. So one way of handling these is the little box at the bottom is the zoom factor. So you can see you've got a 50% zoom factor there. Now then, right away you want to note this one, shrink wrap. It's in the view menu. And that'll put the window to the size of the image. You can also zoom in and out using the keypad, the plus and minus keys on the keypad. That's what I'm doing now. And if you remember, the shortcut for shrink wrap is Control-E, and it's worth remembering those shortcuts. Plus and minus for zoom, Control-E for shrink wrap. Now I'm going to open another image. The only other image I have on this virtual Windows XP machine. And this does open as another separate file. And you can swap backwards and forwards, activate each window in turn, and they both act as separate entities. You can see that one's 33% and that one's 66%. So we can close them, we can close all of them, or one at a time, or just click on the button at the top of the window, and we get back to our basic GIMP layout. Now another way of opening a file is by drag and drop. And if I drag a file into that window, it opens. There we go, minus minus and a Control-E. And if I drag a second file into that window, it will open as a layer. What I mean, and both images will be in the same file. You can see that's what I mean by layers. You can turn the layers on and off, the visibility on and off there. It's none at all. Either or both or none. And you can delete a layer with that little icon. Now then, if I want to open it as a separate window, I drag it over there into the Tools dock. There we go again, resizing it. So there's our two images as separate windows. And if I go and look in our open dialog again, we can, if we want to, add another layer. My Pictures is not the best place to keep all your images in. I'm going to add an extra folder, and I've got one there called Graphics. You can add a graphics folder, and it actually contains the same two images. These are the only images I have on this virtual machine. You can kill a window there, you can like that. Now, and if you made any changes, it will prompt you to save it. So we'll have a look at saving images now. Don't save or abandon any changes, or save it, and depending on the format, it'll come up with some dialogue that you might have to OK. Generally, you just OK everything and go through and it'll save any changes. Or a better way, if you're working on an image, is to save as, and you're presented with a variety of formats, and you can choose the best one. For work in progress is a GIMP XCF file, because that saves all your layers, selections, paths, all the data that you might need at a later date. If it's completed work, you could save as a JPEG, but a PNG is a good format. That saves in a lossless, compressed format with transparency, which you might need. So that's a good format to save as. Now we'll look at a new file. The second question Curious had was about gradients, and I'm going to open as a new file here, new blank image, and we've got lots of choice here on, well, some choice on preset sizes, but you can put your own size in. Just enter them into the box there. Yeah, I've changed both width and height. There are advanced options. That little tick box there will have some. And you can have foreground color, background color, wider transparency. Well, obviously in this case, the background color, the default background color is white anyway. So we'll just go for background color. And it makes a new white image. Now then, looking at gradients, that tab there is for the gradients, and these are the standard gradients that come with GIMP. Lots of them, and if we choose one, well, maybe not that. That's a nice colourful one. And all you do to draw a gradient, you go to the blend tool, it's called. Fills with a gradient. You click and drag, and the starting point and end point do matter. If you don't like it, you can do it some other way. Horizontally, vertically, diagonally. And there are also settings. All the tools have parameters that you can change. So for a blend or a gradient, you can have a radial one, and the difference there is from the first one. You can see that makes a radial shape or something like that. And going back to a linear shape, it's worth noting that if you make a selection, that's a selection, rectangular selection, and you use the gradient on it, back to the gradient tool, make sure you're on the correct tool. You can apply a gradient just to the selection. It doesn't have to be the full image. So that's a basic gradients. Now then, if I go back and open one of my images, what I can use here, for example, is foreground to transparency. So if I choose a foreground color, so there's, instead of black, there's a reddy foreground color, and you can see in the gradient it goes from red to transparent, and when we put it on the image, it goes from red to transparent. So that's how you use that effect. A lot more to it than that, but the best way is just to experiment.